making headlines this hour. A formal state welcome ceremony has been held in Sri Lanka for President Dr. Mohammad Muizz and First Lady Sajida Muhammad. The Maldives and Sri Lanka convenes high-level discussions intended to expand bilateral cooperation across the environmental, tourism, and trade sectors. A technical delegation from China is set to arrive in the Maldives this month to begin structural planning for the modernization of Male's urban road network.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Hafiz Abdul Sattar. Now the news in detail. A formal state welcome ceremony has been held in Sri Lanka for President Dr. Mohammad Muizz and First Lady Sajida Muhammad. The ceremony took place at the Presidential Secretariat in Colombo with Sri Lankan President Anurakumara Dissanayake in attendance. During the event, President Muizz was accorded a 21-gun salute and an official guard of honor. The ceremony concluded with the playing of the national anthems of both countries. Senior officials from the Sri Lankan government, along with the members of the Maldivian delegation, were presented at the ceremony. Following the welcome, official talks between the two sides are scheduled to begin, focusing on strengthening bilateral relations. Discussions are expected to cover cooperation in education, vocational training, economic development, governance, heritage, and collaboration in international forums. Several memorandums of understandings (MOUs) are also said to be signed in the presence of both leaders to enhance cooperation across various sectors. As part of the visit, President Muizz is scheduled to participate in the Maldives Sri Lanka Business Forum and meet members of the Maldivian community residing in Sri Lanka. The President's office said the visit will facilitate discussions on shared priorities and further strengthen the long-standing ties between the Maldives and Sri Lanka. A technical delegation from China is set to arrive in the Maldives this month to begin structural planning for the modernization of Male's urban road network.
Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development Dr. Abdullah Muttalib made the announcement on Monday, describing the visit as a key step in a major infrastructure project funded through a Chinese government grant. The initiative is a central priority of President Dr. Mohammad Muizz's administration. Speaking in Parliament, the minister addressed questions about the project's timeline, explaining that the pace of work is largely determined by the administrative procedures of the donor country. He said China's grant assistance requires separate procurement processes for feasibility studies, design work, and construction, a structured approach that has contributed to the extended timeline. The minister said when a sovereign state provides grant assistance, it is fundamentally an allocation of its own taxpayers' money. He added that the Maldives must comply with the donor's legislative and procedural frameworks in order to access the funding. He also noted that the project was later divided into phases after a feasibility team recommended design changes to address persistent urban flooding in Male. As part of this, work on Majidi Mag will move forward while specialized design work continues for the remaining road network. Minister Muttalib further stated that such timelines are not unique to Chinese-funded projects, noting that similar durations are seen in programs supported through Japanese and Indian credit lines. He said every conceivable operational effort is being mobilized to drive the project forward, dismissing suggestions that delays are intentional and affirming that both governments remain committed to advancing the initiative. The government says the modernization of Male's road network is expected to improve urban mobility and address long-standing infrastructure challenges in the capital.
The Maldives and Sri Lanka signed 7 memorandums of understandings (MOU) aimed at strengthening cooperation across a range of key sectors during the ongoing state visit of President Mohammad Muizz to Sri Lanka.
The agreements were signed as part of the President's official visit from the 3rd to the 6th of this month, undertaken at the invitation of Sri Lankan President Anurakumara Dissanayake. The MOUs were exchanged during a special ceremony held in the presence of both leaders. A total of 7 agreements were concluded, covering areas including tourism, education, youth development, and defense cooperation. The initiatives are expected to further deepen long-standing ties between the two neighboring Indian Ocean nations. The signed MOUs are as follows. An MOU on cooperation in the field of tourism signed by Maldives Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Irutisham Adam and Sri Lanka's Minister of Foreign Affairs Vijitha Herath. An MOU on cooperation in the field of archives also signed by Minister Irutisham Adam and Minister Vijitha Herath. An MOU on sports and youth development signed by Irutisham Adam and Sri Lanka's Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports Sunil Kumara Gamage. An MOU on teacher training and the professional development of school leaders signed by Foreign Minister Irutisham Adam and Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath. An MOU on strengthening defence cooperation signed by Maldives High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Masood Imad and Sri Lanka's Defence Ministry Secretary Air Vice Marshal Retired Sampath Thuyakonta. An MOU on defence education, training and research signed by High Commissioner Masood Imad and Vice Chancellor of General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University, Rear Admiral HGU Dhammika Kumara. An MOU on facilitating higher education opportunities signed by the High Commissioner Masood Imad and Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Professor Indika Mahesh Karunatilake. Following the signing ceremony, President Muizzu and President Dissanayaka delivered a joint statement reaffirming the strong and evolving bilateral relationship between the Maldives and Sri Lanka, expressing commitment to further expanding cooperation in areas of mutual interest.
A technical delegation from China is set to arrive in the Maldives this month to begin structural planning for the modernization of Male's urban road network. Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development Dr. Abdullah Muttalib made the announcement on Monday, describing the visit as a key step in a major infrastructure project funded through a Chinese government grant. The initiative is a central priority of President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu's administration. It is part of STO Healthcare's efforts to further strengthen the healthcare sector in the Maldives. Pharmaceutical products from the globally renowned company Bayer is officially introduced to the country.
A special official event was held to introduce these products, along with a training program aimed at healthcare professionals. The event took place at Hotel Jen in Male and was attended by senior figures in the healthcare sector, local medical professionals, as well as international experts. According to State Trading Organization STO, the main objective of this event was to introduce the latest innovative solutions used in treating diseases. Discussions covered a wide range of areas, including cardiovascular diseases, kidney-related conditions, hormonal disorders, internal medicine, and women's health, with knowledge sharing and professional exchanges taking place. STO Healthcare stated that the treatments introduced are innovative solutions already in use in advanced countries, based on scientific research and proven to be effective in improving patient outcomes. These treatments have been introduced to the Maldives following registration through the stringent and reliable regulatory process of the Maldives Food and Drug Authority. The collaboration between STO Healthcare and Bayer reflects a joint effort to strengthen the national healthcare system and provide higher quality treatment options to the public. STO also noted that this partnership will further boost ongoing efforts to enhance the Maldives' healthcare system.
The Maldives and Sri Lanka commenced high-level discussions intended to expand bilateral cooperation across the environmental, tourism and trade sectors. The diplomatic talks occurred during a state visit by President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu, who travelled to the country at the formal invitation of the Sri Lankan President Anura Kumara Dissanayaka. The dialogue was further advanced when Vijitha Herath, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism, paid a courtesy call to President Muizzu. President Muizzu and Minister Herath noted during their meeting the historical significance of the 60-year diplomatic relationship shared by the Maldives and Sri Lanka. The enduring proximity between the two nations, both officials underscored, remains firmly rooted in shared principles and robust interconnected ties. Affirming a shared dedication to regional progress, the leaders provided assurances of their commitment to strengthening connections across various fields to ensure mutual benefit and prosperity. Consequently, President Moise and Minister Health engaged in extensive deliberations on elevating collaborative efforts concerning environmental protection, the advancement of the tourism industry, and the expansion of commercial trade. Greg Abel moves to assure Berkshire Hathaway shareholders at the company's annual meeting that he will invest thoughtfully and manage the conglomerate's massive cash stake without the burdens of bureaucracy, as he seeks to win over those cautiously hoping he is a worthy successor to Warren Buffett.
Abel, 63, succeeded arguably the world's most famous investor as Berkshire's chief executive in January. He must earn the trust of investors now enamored with technology and artificial intelligence rather than Berkshire's collection of insurers, retailers, and hard asset businesses in energy, industrial, and manufacturing. Attendance at the meeting was down significantly from the Buffett and Vice Chairman Charlie Munger, who died in 2023, presided over meetings filled with their lively insights and banter about Berkshire, the economy, markets, and life. Several thousand seats in a downtown arena were empty when Abel took to the stage. He acknowledged his predecessors' lives and careers by symbolically retiring jerseys bearing their names, which will hang in the arena's rafters. Buffett attended the meeting in person, telling the audience that Greg is doing everything I did and then some more, reprising comments he made last year when he announced his retirement as CEO. The 95-year-old also praised Apple, one of Berkshire's most successful investment, and his departing chief executive, Tim Cook. Buffett remains Berkshire's chairman.
Tim took over about 14 years ago when Steve died. But when we made our investment and turned over 10% of the resources of Berkshire, we were turning it over to Tim. And as I say, he has turned that into $185 billion or something pre-tax.
Abel told the audience that although Berkshire was feeling the impact of higher oil prices from the war in Iran, the company was committed to a long-term perspective.
U.S. President Donald Trump tells reporters that there is a possibility that the United States could restart strikes on Iran.
Trump was responding to a reporter's question at West Palm Beach in Florida before boarding Air Force One.
Doing very well with regard to Iran. Again, they want to make a deal. They're decimated. They're having a hard time figuring out who their leader is. They don't know who their leader is because their leader is gone. Their former leader, Khomeini. But we'll see. Any questions real fast?
Asked about a planned drawdown of 5,000 U.S. troops from Germany, the president said, "We are cutting a lot further than 5,000. The Pentagon announced the drawdown from Germany, its largest European base, on Friday, as a rift over the Iran war and tariff tensions placed further strain on relations between the U.S. and Europe.
Maltese Labuda equalizes in the 81st minute, and the visiting Vancouver Whitecaps salvaged a 1-1 draw with the LA Galaxy in Carson.
Vancouver owned major advantages in possession time and shots, but couldn't convert that into anything tangible until the closing minutes. Sebastian Berhalter serviced Laborda in the center of the box on a free kick, and he converted on a header past JT Marcinkowski for his third marker of the season. The Whitecaps finished with 57.5% possession and a 19-7 advantage in shots, although they just got 5 to frame. LA managed just 2 shots on net against Yohei Takaoka, but the Galaxy made one of them count in the 46th minute thanks to a dreadful giveaway by Takaoka as he tried to start the attack. His kick went right to Lucas Sanabria, who sent Joseph Painsil into the right side of the box. There, Painsil didn't mess around, roofing a shot under the crossbar to score his second goal and earn his 5th goal contribution in just 7 matches. LA protected that lead through an array of Vancouver attacks until a Miki Yamani fall, which set up the tying set piece. This match started a straight of 8 straight road matches for the Whitecaps as their stadium is readied for use during 7 World Cup matches. During the draw, they maintained the best goal differential in MLS, +20, 1 goal ahead of San Jose, the only team ahead of them in the West table. Vancouver did nothing to falsify its reputation as an attacking team that could hog the ball, and the Galaxy sent plenty of time in their end of the pitch. But Marcinkowski made a pair of saves in the opening 45 minutes to keep them off the board. Play grew increasingly chippy, keeping referee Alexis De Silva busy administering yellow cards. He booked each team 5 times, 4 apiece in a testy second half.
Disney Animation is giving some of its most iconic songs a new voice, one spoken through hands, faces and movement, reimagining classic numbers in American Sign Language to mark National Deaf History Month.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Songs We Don't Talk About Bruno from Encanto, Beyond from Moana 2, and The Next Right Thing from Frozen 2 were recreated using Deaf West Theatre performers as models for the animation. The performances were bundled with behind-the-scenes footage in Songs in Sign Language, which premiered on Monday on Disney+. DJ Curse, artistic director of Deaf West Theatre, said the project challenges the common misconception that deaf people and music don't mix.
So this project, this was something I had floating around back in my head for a while. My father's deaf. Really, you go back to the inspiration of it. Growing up, I didn't really learn sign language and felt like kind of had a barrier connecting with my dad. And so this came about as a way to connect and bring down barriers, especially between Disney animation and the deaf community.
I know these stars above the ocean.
Hiram Osmond, who also worked on Disney films Zootopia and Raya and the Last Dragon, said that this project was deeply personal for him. Osmond's father is deaf, and he said not learning ASL growing up created a barrier he wanted to address. He said that this came about as a way to connect and bring down barriers, especially between Disney animation and the deaf community. The production presented unique challenges. We Don't Talk About Bruno features multiple characters signing overlapping parts, while The Next Right Thing required the character Anna to sign while climbing a mountain. Curse emphasized that ASL relies on facial expressions and full body movement, details the animators carefully incorporated, from raised eyebrows to subtle shifts in posture. The Deaf West Theatre artistic director added that each song went through an intensive process of translation, rehearsal, and filming, with performers' movements captured from multiple angles and refined shot by shot. Osmond praised the collaboration, calling the final result art. He said that it's less about signing individual words and more about conveying emotion. The project took 4 years to develop, with animation completed in 6 months. Osmond said the lessons learned could open new creative possibilities. He said, quote, "Just working through this sparked ideas and solutions. I think it's going to lead to things we haven't even imagined yet," unquote.
Under skies I've never seen. Will I lose myself between my home and what's unknown if I go beyond?
And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant time ahead.